When you picture Rome, I bet this is one of the first things that comes to mind, right? The grand, sweeping Spanish steps, packed with people just soaking up the Italian sun. It's one of the most famous landmarks in the entire world. But what if I told you that pretty much everything you think you know about them is wrong?
For centuries, this has been the place to be in the city. I mean, it's a stage for artists, poets, lovers, and yeah, a whole lot of tourists. From 19th century writers to Audrey Hepburn in RomanHoliday, these steps have always been the backdrop for Roman life. It's a place to meet up, to take a break, and to just watch the world go by.
Okay, here's twist number one. Despite the name, the Spanish Steps, the Spanish had almost nothing to do with building them. So why on earth are they called that? Don't worry, we're going to get to that.
And if you look down at the bottom, there's another secret hiding in plain sight. You see that beautiful boat-shaped fountain, the Fontana della Barcaccia? Well, its half-sunken look isn't just a quirky artistic choice. No, it's actually a piece of engineering genius that was born from a massive problem. So you've got a French-funded staircase in a so-called Spanish square with a sinking fountain at its feet. The real story here is this incredible mix of brilliant engineering, tricky diplomacy, and of course, amazing art. So let's dive in and uncover the truths that are hiding right in front of us.
Let's start our little tour right where every visit begins, at the foot of the steps, with that famous fountain of the leaky boat. So back in the early 17th century, Pope Urban VIII decided he wanted a magnificent fountain right here. But there was a huge problem. See, the aqueduct that supplied water to this part of Rome, the Aqua Vergine, had really low water pressure. You just couldn't get those dramatic, high-shooting jets of water. So the architect, Pietro Bernini, came up with this brilliant idea. If you can't make the water go up, well then make the fountain go down. By literally sinking the whole fountain below street level, he created just enough pressure to let the water gently flow and spill over the sides. Genius, right?
So why a leaky boat? I mean, of all things, right? Well, it's not random at all. The story goes that in 1598, the Tiber River had a massive flood, and it washed a small boat right into the middle of this very square. When the water finally went down, the boat was just left there, stranded. Bernini took that local memory and immortalized it in stone, turning what was a disaster into this playful, permanent piece of art.
And if you look closely, the little details tell you even more. Pope Urban VIII was from the super powerful Barberini family, and their family crest had 3 bees on it. And what do you see right on the fountain? Yep, papal bees. The water also spouts out of these 2 big suns, another Barberini symbol. It was designed by Pietro Bernini, but it's widely believed that his son, the even more famous Gian Lorenzo Bernini, helped finish it up after his dad passed away.
Okay, from the fountain, let's look up, because before this incredible staircase was here, trying to get from the piazza to the church at the top was, well, it was a real mess.
You have to picture it. This was just a steep, muddy, tree-covered slope. It was an ugly and frankly difficult barrier separating this beautiful church from the busy square down below. The big challenge was how to connect them. The winning design from a pretty much unknown architect named Francesco di Sanctis didn't just solve the problem. It turned it into a breathtaking piece of urban theater.
He created a staircase with exactly 135 steps. Now, you might hear people say different numbers, but trust me, that's the official count. And every single one is part of his grand vision.
But here's the real genius. It wasn't just about getting from point A to point B. De Sanctis didn't want people to just rush up and down. He designed the steps with these beautiful curves, landings, and wide terraces that basically invite you to stop. They kind of force you to pause, turn around, and take in the view. It's not just a staircase, it's a destination in itself, a public stage for the drama of everyday Roman life.
So if an Italian designed it, who paid for it? And where in the world does Spain finally fit into all this? Okay, let's get into the politics, because this is where the name game gets really interesting.
You know, this project was literally centuries in the making. The French had owned the church at the top, the Trinità dei Monti, since way back in 1494. And for over 200 years, they wanted a grand way to connect their church to the piazza. At one point, even the great Bernini submitted a plan, but the Pope rejected it. It wasn't until the 1720s that the money, from a French diplomat, was finally put up and de Sanctis' winning design was built.
Okay, so here's the big reveal. Let's break it down. The money was French, from a diplomat named Etienne Geffier. The architect was Italian, Francesco de Sanctis, and the location?
It's in the Piazza di Spagna, which literally means Spanish Square. And why was it called that? Because the Spanish embassy to the Holy See has been located there since the 1600s. So the steps simply took the name of the square they lead into. Mystery solved.
So when you think about it, the staircase became this incredibly powerful symbol of diplomacy. It was a grand gesture that physically connected the French sphere of influence, their church up on the hill, with the Spanish sphere of influence, in the square down below. It's really a monument built to celebrate peace and connection, not conquest. From the day they were finished, the steps basically took on a life of their own, cementing their place in art, literature, and of course, modern culture.
Just to the right of the steps is the very house where the great Romantic poet John Keats died of tuberculosis. He was tragically young, only 25. He spent his final days listening to the gentle, constant sound of the Barcaccia fountain, and that sound is said to have inspired his heartbreakingly beautiful epitaph, "Here lies one whose name was writ in water." And then, of course, Hollywood made the steps a global superstar. The 1953 movie RomanHoliday. I mean, who can forget Audrey Hepburn and Gregory Peck on these terraces? That film cemented the steps as one of the most romantic spots on Earth, and it's been drawing millions of visitors ever since.
But all that popularity, all those millions of visitors, it comes at a cost. To protect the historic marble from getting stained and damaged, Rome brought in some strict new rules back in 2019. Now, you're actually forbidden to sit, eat, or write on the steps, and the fines can be steep. We're talking up to 400 euros. It's definitely controversial, but it's all about trying to preserve this masterpiece for the future.
Which really brings us to this big, final question. The Spanish Steps are both a priceless piece of history and a living, breathing public space. They were designed specifically for people to linger and gather, but that very thing now threatens their survival. So how do we protect our most treasured landmarks while still letting them be the vibrant hearts of our cities they were meant to be? It's a question that Rome, and really cities all over the world, are still trying to figure out.